Hello everybody, Kyle here. You might know me as a co-host on the Chaos and Shadow podcast, where we investigate the paranormal. Now we're bringing those same investigations over here to YouTube in a short format. This past week, my co-host Pagan and myself talked all about sleep paralysis and shadow people that accompany that. Join me here as we dive into this medical mystery and talk about why people might be seeing recurring images. I hope you enjoy. Let's start this off by talking about the things we can agree on. Firstly, sleep paralysis is a medical condition. It is recognized by doctors, and I should disclose, I am not one, so don't take anything I say in this episode or anywhere across this YouTube channel as being medical advice. Pulling from an article by Very Well Health, sleep paralysis is the persistence or presence of features of rapid eye movement, aka REM sleep, during the transition into or out of sleep. Again, that is to say, this can happen to people when they are falling asleep, or it can happen when they're waking up. And this happens to about 20% of a healthy population. Those without an underlying condition are still massive odds of at least experiencing sleep paralysis once in their life. During REM sleep, your mind is active and you might vividly imagine sights, sounds, and other feelings as part of a dream. When it comes to sleep paralysis, this can be terrifying as many people report nightmarish scenes. At the same time that you're experiencing these REM sleep symptoms, your body is paralyzed so that you're not acting out your dreams. This is called muscle atonia. When these features occur during wakefulness, you will have an experience of sleep paralysis. So to follow along, a little TLDR, the body is locking itself down as a normal function while you're sleeping. That's so you're not trying to jump out of a window thinking you can fly. It's so you're not throwing fists fighting a villain in your dream when you're accidentally punching someone you know, probably a sibling. In this case, people are waking up. The mind is turning on, but the body has yet to release control. Hence, sleep paralysis. What takes a medically agreed upon phenomenon and turns it paranormal? Well, I think the answer to that lies in the common types of encounters, and I've got 3 common ones for you today. The first type being the incubus, or the weight on the chest. Firstly, an incubus is a sexual demon. These are a very common type people will see in their sleep paralysis. Some say it's a demonic entity on their chest, but overall it just seems to be something evil. However, others just describe it as a weight. The second is the intruder, or malevolent entity. Some people will claim that they have a feeling that someone's lurking in the shadows, that there is some sort of being there watching them, stalking them while they can't move. The third being vestibular motor hallucinations, or out-of-body experiences. These can be linked to astral projection or lucid dreaming. The phenomena could be a disturbance in the parietal cortex, an area of the brain that interprets your senses. It allows you to create spatially coordinated images. This could explain the first 2 that we talked about, the entity in the room and the entity on your chest. But number 3 takes an interesting turn. Number 3 has things that correlate with activity in the brain, such as schizophrenia and LSD usage. There's much to learn when it comes to sleep paralysis and exploring this void. Let's spend some time now and talk about those entities in the corners. Let's talk about what makes this phenomenon extra paranormal. And that is people around the world are seeing shadow figures or shadow people. As a quick definition, a shadow person, also known as a shadow figure or shadow being or black mass, is the perception of a patch of shadow as a living humanoid figure and interpreted as the presence of a spirit or other entity by believers in the paranormal or supernatural. It doesn't end there. There's a leader to these shadow figures called Black Hat Man. Now, my personal take, I'm still exploring this figure and learning about it. It feels to me at this moment in my research to be something akin to Slender Man, a story that crops up on creepypastas and Reddit No Sleep. But it's an interesting figure nonetheless. He portrays himself as, again, a black figure, mass, an entity of some sort, but his standout characteristic is a flat brim or wide brim hat. Some say it has a point at the top, but these variations are pretty common. This figure seems to strike immense and intense fear in those that are paralyzed. This is where, for me, I have this strong correlation between paranormal and medical. I ask the question, why, if this is a normal function of us sleeping and dreaming, why are these all recurring nightmares? Why aren't we having exciting episodes of sleep paralysis where instead of shadowy figures, we're seeing loved ones? Why is it that we have a demon on our chest instead of a loving dog jumping up to greet you? The recurring negative connotations for sleep paralysis don't seem to have a solid explanation yet. In my research, I came across a professor who was looking at it from an anthropological and sociological lens. They were looking at figures like Freddy Krueger, who wears a wide brim hat and also attacks people in their dreams. This doesn't explain it for everyone, though. As we look into the wide global cases, not everyone would be exposed to these concepts or archetypes. It should be said that it is very easy for the mind to quickly put together and take from imagery, creating archetypes on the fly. For example, if I say spy, I could guess many people in the audience may be thinking of someone wearing a trench coat, something stereotypical like that. These things can get ingrained in our brains very, very quickly. So you don't need to be a Freddy Krueger fan to let that scary imagery leak into your subconscious. At the end of the day, if you're someone who's experiencing sleep paralysis on a regular basis, I strongly encourage you to see your doctor, speak with them about this, and inquire about sleep tests. For those going through this, it can be a terrible doozy, and my heart goes out to you. Some general online tips on how to prevent it, if you really want to make sure you're not getting into the sleep paralysis phase. Reducing caffeine intake, always a good idea. Make sure you're getting quality sleep. A lot of these encounters were linked to jet lag. Reduce your stress level, if only it were that easy. And lastly, avoid alcohol, especially close to bedtime, as that all of the above can very easily throw off your normal sleep patterns. Some do say it is completely unavoidable, and it will happen potentially even when you're napping. Again, speak with your doctor to make sure there's no underlying conditions. Otherwise, feel free to go online and explore all of the creepy stories. I would also encourage, if you want to dive deeper on this topic in a kind of academic-y exploration way like this, take a listen to our episode of the podcast. You can search us up on Spotify, iTunes, and the rest by typing in Chaos and Shadow. Our latest episode, going up here on August 29th, is about shadow people and sleep paralysis. Here, me and my co-host Pagan dive deep, and in our after show on Twitch, we actually shared some listener stories. And if you'd like to get yours included, feel free to head over to chaosandshadow.com. At the very bottom of the webpage, we have a submission form. Send us your stories. We'd love to include some. And let me know what topics you'd like me to cover in the future. You can feel free to comment those below. I guess that being said, smack that bell icon and subscribe while you're at it. Look forward to more of these mini-sodes coming soon. Bye-bye.